I agree with this grade. I know many can argue and say he's only won one Big Ten championship game, since he's been there as a head coach. But I agree. Heading into the season, his job is safe and secure. I look at this as a free season for Penn State. Well, I'm not a Penn State fan. I'm along with their rival, so I look at this thing differently. From maybe what Penn State fans would say. This isn't. This is probably his second best offense that he's had since he's been at Penn State. Since they had everybody when they had Saquon, McSorley, Gesicki. They had Chris Godwin. I think that was either 16-17. That was his best offense. Now Nick Singleton and Aller and all of that, the offense, they're Katron Allen, all of them, they're good, but they're not that. They're not in the same conversation. But this is a free season for James Franklin. There should be no expectations on him. This is going to be the one. This is going to be the first season where the incoming recruits are not having to deal with that ridiculous living situation rule. This is the first year. He talked about it. This is the first year that the university has gotten rid of the policy that they have for student athletes and living conditions, and recruits and parents can have them live, potentially by themselves if that's what they want. And then this is the last season he has to deal with being a part of the Big Four. He no longer is going to have to face Michigan State every year. Am I saying that right? I know for a fact he's not going to have to face Ohio State every year, because I think it's going to be every other year for Ohio State, and I don't think he has to face that team up north every year. So you just knocked out his biggest problem at Penn State following this season with the additions of USC and UCLA. He doesn't have to face them. He does. So now that levels the playing field, and then on top of that, you have playoff expansion. Penn State's in the hunt every year. Just like recently that team up north, and obviously Michigan State was a couple of seasons ago. They're in the hunt. And Penn State's in the hunt every year. Where are they finishing? They're a top 10, 15 program every year. Playoff expansion, this should be easy for him to get into the mix, especially starting next year, and not having to deal with the schedule that he's been having, the cards that he was dealt by this ridiculous location format of divisions. He is safe. He is good. I don't see how James Franklin gets fired this year. Everything, especially moving forward, for not only for him and Penn State, looks really bright. He can afford a couple of losses and still make the playoff. He has satisfied. He's going to be able to satisfy recruits moving forward. James Franklin is going to be in the mix, and I see him as here to stay. So I see why his job is safe and secure. Now, that doesn't mean this season they need to go out and win 5-6 games. I don't mean that. They still need to be competitive. Obviously, you want them to, well, not me, but obviously fans of Penn State will want them to, beat both teams, Michigan State, that team of North Ohio State, and be competitive. We'll see how that goes. But James Franklin, in terms of heading to the 2023 college football season, his job is definitely safe and secure. This is a free season for him. Again, he can't have a bad season, but moving forward, things are going to be very, very bright and happy valley.